Welcome to episode 309 of the Man That Can Projects podcast, and thank you guys for tuning in and your continued support. Man, the downloads last week were at an all-time high, and I'm very grateful that everyone is tuning in and continuing to tune in, and the audience continues to get better. Remember, by leaving the reviews, sharing it on your socials, that all helps. So, if you're not a part of our program or you want to find a way to sort of give back to the things that you're learning on this and the incredible guests that we have on, it would mean a heap if you could leave those reviews. Now, before we dive into the episode, the Strong Men of Value Academy, I kicked off my 12-week game plan on Monday, and our game plan is what we use to hold or help hold yourself accountable to the goal that you are setting. Now, we're set one goal throughout the 12 weeks, and what happens when you finish your 12 weeks? If you set a goal and you build a plan and you work that plan daily, there's a higher fucking chance that you're going to achieve your goal. You're also going to learn a whole heap of stuff along the way throughout our academy and meet some incredibly ambitious blokes that are going to be in your corner to hold you accountable and really be able to challenge you to be the best version of yourself. So if you want to find out more about that, head over to the manthatcanproject.com/strongman of value, and you can find out more information and even apply there. We've had a number of new members this week, which is very exciting, and I would imagine it's probably come from listeners of the podcast. Now, today, what we're going to do on this quick, short, sharp, educational episode is about value-driven living. Okay, so we're talking about, the benefits of living to your values. So how to establish them. Think through what is really important to you and a whole other range of things there that we're going to be discussing. Now, some of you may have heard about values-driven living or establishing your values, even on the podcast, and many of the gentlemen and ladies that we've had on the show talk a lot about values. And even Monday's guest, who is a psychologist, talks a lot about values-driven living. Now, values for me, I first heard of this whole values-driven living and establishing your values probably around 2015 when I was at a personal development event with David Wood, who is an incredible mentor, and I'm desperately trying to get him on the podcast for you all to be able to learn from him as well. Now, what I learned from a young age, or what I sort of not learned from a young age, but through reflection from myself as a young age, was throughout life I had friendships, right, mateships with people that I just hit it off with. I was like, man, I feel like I've known you my whole life. I truly do. And I had other relationships that really, every time I walked away from them, I felt extremely drained. And same with experiences in my life. There were things that I was just gravitated to. For me, it was a lot of adventure-based things, skateboarding, surfing, outdoor activities. I just loved it. And when I was doing those things, I just felt like I was in flow state. I just felt so happy, so fulfilled. And also, I persevered when things got challenging in those spaces. For me, when I was skateboarding, I remember, learning new tricks. I didn't know how to kickflip. I didn't know how to ollie. I didn't know how to drop in. I didn't know how to grind and all of these things. But because I loved it so much, because it just lit me up and I felt so excited by it, I persevered. Rolled ankles. I fell on my face, I fell on my back, and I just got frustrated and yelled and had tantrums, but I kept coming back. And what that highlights to me was that was something that I valued, or there was something that I valued that I got from participating in something like that. And I'm sure you have something in your life where you can sort of relate, or maybe even review from when you were younger, that you experienced similar things. It might have been footy, it might have been music, whatever. Okay? And then there are those things like school for me where it's like you're learning things. Man, I was learning Shakespeare and bloody all kinds of stuff at school that I was just sitting in the back of the class and I was sitting on my calculator trying to play Snake or Tetris, and I was not interested at all. And that impacted my grades, right? And I think there's a great correlation between that example that I just gave there. So learning something that you're not necessarily interested in means that you're probably not going to put the effort in, or you're not going to really, focus on it and remember what you're learning, which can then bite you on the ass in exams and tests. But what that then does, what the ripple effect of that does, it damages self-confidence. It impacts how you respect yourself, because the idea or this viewpoint you have of yourself shifts. And I have a big problem with various things in the schooling system. The older I get and the more I self-teach and I explore learning things that I actually care about, that I'm actually interested in, and I see how much better I do in, not even in exams, because I don't do a lot of exams for many things except for like uni and stuff. However, I remember information. I get excited when I'm learning. I just have this internal feeling that when I'm reading something that excites me or lights me up, I have this desire to want to share it. I have this desire to want to write about it. I have this desire to want to reflect on it within my own life and go, how can I implement this? Or where has this happened for me? Or why is this exciting? And this comes back to the benefits. So let's quickly touch. I gave you some negatives of not living to your values with that example, but benefits of living to your values is the flip. It boosts your self-confidence, right? You're on the path to literally becoming more confident, because what happens are a few things I mentioned. You generally get greater results. Your performance, right? You're essentially, by clarifying what you value, you are starting your journey to higher achievement and peak performance. Right? You want to thrive at something, find something that you fucking love, and I guarantee you won't be able to, whether it's learning or acting or performing, you're going to always want to improve yourself, and you're always going to show up to do your best. If you're struggling to do that, I challenge you to ask yourself whether what you're doing right now, whether what you're spending the most time doing right now, you genuinely enjoy. And I guarantee you, well, there's a high probability that you don't enjoy what you're doing. So if you want to get on that path to high achievement and peak performance, you need to start thinking about, okay, well, the benefits of living my values is, one, I'm going to feel more confident, which is going to boost or change my perspective of how I view myself, i.e. my self-esteem is going to be awesome. What happens when you feel more confident in the image you have of yourself is positive, is empowered? Well, I know for myself, when I am feeling extremely confident, when I am feeling extremely empowered, I take more risks. I find myself having more opportunity, meaning I probably put myself out there more. I truly believe that I can create the life that I want. I'm more confident, I'm more happy, I'm probably more enjoyable to be around. Those to me are big fucking ticks. Right? And they're coming off the back that I now am very aware of what I value in my life. And once again, this is like an ongoing thing. You need to make sure you stop, check in and go, is this something that I still value? And for those who are sitting there scratching their head and you're going, how the fuck do I even start by finding out what I value? Some good ways to highlight it is generally what you're doing right now. Right? Think through, and if you've got a pen and paper, we actually have a worksheet for this in the academy, probably another reason why it could be of benefit to you to join the academy. But what is really important to you? Think about it and write a list of things. It may be surfing, right? It may be learning. It may be your family. It may be exercise, health. There can be so many things that you feel are important to you at this point in time. Now, as with everything, there's hierarchies. We know. What I would encourage is, once you've written that list down, put them in order of priority. And then ask yourself, what are you doing in your life right now to act upon that value? So, for me, my most important value is health before everything else. Why? Because I know that if I'm not healthy, and I'm talking physically and mentally, how am I going to do any of the other ones? It's not possible, right? Not possible at all. Because if I'm having to continue to pop in and out of hospital, if I'm, not able to support my clients and my friends and my family in the way that I want to, I don't feel like I'm going to get this satisfaction and be able to give what I want to give. Right? So health, it's why I don't miss exercise. It's why I don't drink a lot of alcohol. It's why I really do look after myself, sleep and everything. And I'm not saying that's going to protect me from everything. I just know that it helps me have energy and vitality now. And I know that is a value. I'm not just saying it because I walk the walk. There are people, you may even be guilty of this, who go, yeah, I value my health. Then you're punching durries on the weekend, drinking a heap of beer, and then you don't go to the gym for months at a time. To me, I would call you on that and say you don't value your health. Do you like the idea of valuing your health? Or you maybe do, but you've got a million other priorities that are in front of it, okay? And that's okay. You can change that. But if you aren't aware of it, right, awareness is the first and most important part in the whole process of change. You can't change it, okay? So you need to really get aware of that. But I guess what really brings it out in people is how they are under pressure. So think about this, going back to the health value. If you're kickstarting a diet and you know that you're meal prepping and you're doing everything else, and then something happens at work, all of a sudden you're having to work longer hours, do you still prioritize that meal prep? Or do you then go, I need fast options like McDonald's or KFC or whatever it is? That's going to really show you under pressure how you are. Now, in order to be able to change that, you need to, one, act, but two, make some decisions. Now this is a good question. So how would the best version of yourself act? If that highest point of who you are and who you want to become, how would they act in that situation? How would they act under pressure? That is going to help you sort of be aware and go, okay, well, if I find myself in this situation, this is how the best version of myself is going to act. I know for myself, when I used to get frustrated in things, I'd always fucking react. I would flip off the rails and I would, shut down emotionally. I would shut down verbally. And I would just be pissed off. I would be an absolute punish to be around. Now, when I got clear on what I valued and who I wanted to become, I asked that question to myself, like, how would the highest version of myself act right now? Would they shut down? Would they be nonverbal? Would they have a little tantrum? The answer slapped me in the face. It was a fucking no. I decided that when adversity pops up or when challenges pop up, when I get frustrated, I need to respond. What am I in control of, and what can I do to improve my current situation? And that made me become more resourceful, which has had huge positive impacts in my quality of life. I've become more tolerable to be around, right? I have a higher level of self-confidence because I know when adversity comes, I believe that I can work around it. And it changes how I view myself because I know I'm committed to being better and I do what I say I'm going to do. So there's some benefits. We've spoken about how to establish them. I've sort of spoken about how you respond under high pressure. That really highlights your values. And I think one last thing to touch on before we wrap it up, or two last things. But integrity is one, it's in my top 6. Integrity is one that people say, I'm full of integrity. And it can be quite contradictory when you don't act in accordance with your values. So, as mentioned, if health or adventure is something of yours, and you also say integrity, I'm a man of integrity, but you then don't back up your actions to live a healthy life or to live an adventurous life, how do you think you're going to feel next time you say to someone, I'm a man of integrity? Do you think subconsciously you're going to go, I didn't do that. I didn't go to the gym like I said I was going to. I didn't go on the hike on the weekend. Maybe I'm not a man of integrity. And then your whole opinion of yourself changes. So it's very important to slow down and start thinking about how all of these things impact your life. And just to touch on before we go off, and if you want to come into the academy and talk more about this, love to have you a part of it. But you can actually establish what you value in each area of your life. So we talk about the 8 areas from relationships to physical health, mental well-being, lifestyle, and what you actually value about that. Because then when you're in each of those spaces, you can really prioritize honing in on that. If love and connection is an important one in relationship, okay, well, how do you experience that and how do you give that to individuals? What do you need to work on there to maximize that time? And I think even as I'm talking about this right now, it just highlights how much we have to do as individuals. And once again, it's why, if you're not continuing to set goals in your life, and I mean, some may feel significant. Others may just go, okay, I just want to work on implementing more date nights into my life. Here's the plan. Now I'm going to work the plan. Whatever it may be, but if you aren't doing it, you're becoming complacent, right? And when you become complacent, there's no momentum, there's no movement forward. What happens? You become stuck, right? You feel stuck, and it's not a fun place. Some of you who are listening right now feel stuck right now. Others of you have just shifted the momentum. Others of you actually going fucking backwards. So you need to consider all of that as well. I think a great thing is thinking about each of those areas of your life and what you value and where you're at with that, and potentially what you can do to improve that or to hone in on that, to live in more alignment with that. Because obviously when you're living in more alignment with what you value, you're on that path, you're on that, moving towards peak performance, which is fucking exciting. So gents, I want to leave you with that one today. And over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be diving into more strategy, more short, teachable episodes, things that we talk about within our academy that are going to be able to help you move your life forward. So I'm looking forward to delivering those. If you have topics that you would love covered, leave them in the comments wherever you're listening to. Drop me a message on Instagram or get in the academy, right? Academy always has priority. So make sure you definitely jump on board there. And gents, finally, please, if you got some value from this, share it, leave a review, and do something today to be better for tomorrow.